Greetings everyone, thank you for coming to my channel. In this video, you'll be learning about prepositions of direction. And before I get started, I just wanted to genuinely thank you guys for all of your love and support. It means more to me than you know. And I also wanted to say you guys can feel free to like, comment, subscribe. You can leave feedback, questions, comments, concerns, compliments, anything. Now let's get to the video. Prepositions of direction tell us where something or someone is going. In this video, I'll be discussing these prepositions: to, into, through, around, onto, along, across, next to, past, down, over, and under. To means movement from one place to another. Example 1 says, I'm driving to the grocery store. So this is a place that I'm headed to. Example 2 says, next week I'm going to the movies. So next week I'm going to be headed to the movies. And our third example says, my neighbors are moving to Canada. So my neighbors are going to be headed to Canada. This is a place that they're going to be going to. Into means to enter something. So our first example says, the truck is driving into a tunnel. So the truck is entering the tunnel. Our second example says, the ball rolled into a ditch. So the ball is entering a ditch. And our third example says, the boy jumped into the pool. So the boy entered the pool. Well, he jumped into the pool, but he still entered the pool by jumping into it. Through means moving from one side to another. Our first example says, the dog ran through the bushes. Our second example says, he walked through the sprinkler. And our third example says, to get to the living room, you have to go through the kitchen. Or you could say you have to walk through the kitchen. Either way makes sense. So another good way of describing through or defining through is walking into something, because I feel like the definition in this slide doesn't give us too much justice. So if you're walking through something, you're pretty much walking into it, but you're also walking out of it. So you walk into something, but you don't just stay there, you walk out of it. Like if I'm walking through the water, walking inside of the water, but I'm also planning on getting out of the water. I'm not just standing in the water. Around means a circular path or along the edge. Our first example says there's a tree in the middle of the road, so you have to drive around it to get to my house. Our second example says the ball is rolling around in circles. And our third example says walk around the ditch so you don't fall into it. Onto means on top of. Our first example says the dog jumped onto the couch. Our second example says he walked onto the boat. And our third example says she climbed onto the roof. So in all of these examples, the person or dog went from being not on top of something to being on top of something. Along is used when talking about something that's positioned beside a length. So our first example says, I live in a house along the river. Our second example says, he is walking along the waterfront. And our third example says, there's a fence along my backyard. Across means on the other side. Our first example says, I live across the street from the bank. So if my house is on one side, that means the bank is on the other side, and I can see the bank from my house. Example 2 says there's a coffee shop right across the street from my house. So if my house is on one side, that means the coffee shop is on the other side, and I can see the coffee shop from my house. And our third example says, don't drive across that bridge because it's cracked. So don't go to the other side of that bridge because the bridge is cracked. Or don't try at least, because you might not even make it to the other side of the bridge because it's cracked. Next to means on the side of. Our first example says his car is parked next to a pink BMW. So his car is on the side of a pink BMW. Our next example says the park is next to the bus station. So the park is on the side of the bus station. And our third example says I will stand next to the door. So I will stand on the side of the door. Down means movement from a higher point to a lower point. Our first example says my basketball is rolling down the hill. Our second example says the old lady fell down. And our third example says the sun was shining too bright, so I pulled the curtains down. So in each example, the person or thing went from being at a higher point to a lower point. In example 1, the basketball was at a higher point until it rolled down the hill. Then it went to a lower point. In example 2, the old lady was standing at a higher point until she fell. Then she was at a lower point. And in example 3, the curtains were pulled up. They were at a higher point until they were pulled down to a lower point. Past means going by a location. Our first example says I drove past a statue. Our second example says the bus drove right past me. And our third example says I walked past a possum one day. So in each of these examples, the subject is going by a location, or the subject is passing something. Over means a higher position. Our first example says the kids jumped over the fence. Our second example says the football flew over my head. And our third example says the plane is flying over the buildings. So in each of these examples, the subject is at a higher position. Under means a lower position. Our first example says my phone is under the bed. So my phone is at a lower position. Our second example says she is standing under the bridge. So she is at a lower position. And our third example says, why is there so much dust under the fridge? So the dust is under the fridge. The dust is at a lower position. Also, before I get going, I just wanted to remind you guys that prepositions of direction tell us where something or someone is going, and prepositions of place tell us where something or someone is already at. I just had to put that out there because a lot of people confuse the two. Even I've confused them at times. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you found this video informative. If you did find this video informative, please feel free to like, comment, or subscribe, or all of the above, and I'll see you next time.